How many times have you heard me talk? How many times have you and I talked about teachers, about communists, about how they realized how necessary it was to take over the education system so they could teach kids to hate themselves, hate their country, and hate their parents? You see, there's a complete mindset change we need on the right, and I've heard people say this my entire life, and it's insane to me. It's an old Winston Churchill quote: "If you're under 30 and not a socialist, you have no heart. If you're over 30 and not a conservative, you have no brain." And it's just one of those clever ways of saying, "Well, all young people are socialists." What? That's not true. Young people are sponges. They are what you've taught them, what you've guided them towards. Our young people are all communists in America because we have given over the education of our children to absolute monsters. These people don't look at children, your children, the way you look at other children. When you look at other children, it wouldn't occur to you to snatch them away from their parents. Make sure you teach them values that are the opposite of everything those parents have taught them. That sounds horrible, monstrous to you, right? What kind of a demon would do such a thing? That's exactly how they look at your kids. That's exactly how they look at your kids. They don't see you walking in the mall with your kids and think, "Oh, look at that cute family." They see you walking in the mall and they think, "I wonder how I can change that kid to make him hate himself and his mom and dad." Don't believe me? They're out there on camera telling you all the time.
I have 180 days to turn them into revolutionaries.
How do you do that? How do you
Scare the fuck out of them. Sacramento organization that is under the banner of Antifa is very loosely organized, right? So like, yeah, when there is like right-wing rallies and stuff, then we'll create an opposition to that. Yeah.
Beautiful. Where would he go to connect to some of these organizations?
No, I post a calendar every week,
awesome.
and then so like and I do it for extra credit, so they get points for doing it. And so that encourages them to do it. And I've had like students show up for like protests, community events, tabling, food distribution, all sorts of things. When they go, they take pictures, they write up a reflection. That's their extra credit.
High school students. Oh, you didn't still think this was just for college campuses, right? High school students. That's a high school teacher. You heard what he said. Did he say, "I have 180 days to make sure they learn math"? Did he say, "I have 180 days to make sure they have a good base of knowledge about history"? Did he say, "I have 180 days to make sure they know how to compose a paragraph and they learn about sentence structure"? And no, he didn't. He said, "I have 180 days to do what?" Did you catch it? "I have 180 days to turn them into revolutionaries." These people don't stand up in front of your kids in a classroom and say to themselves, "I have to do right by these kids. I have to do right by their parents. I have to make sure I'm staying on topic and teaching the right things." These people stand in front of your children and think to themselves, "I've only got so much time to make sure these kids unlearn everything they've ever been taught. I better dig in." That's the truth. They're always out there telling you.
Like I have an Antifa flag on my wall, and a student complained about that, and he said it made him feel uncomfortable. Well, this is meant to make fascists feel uncomfortable, so if you feel uncomfortable, I don't really know what to tell you.
Fascists. Let's talk about that word for just a brief moment before we wrap this up here, because I realize that's a word that gets tossed around a lot now. You'll see it. One, you better understand the importance of language and propaganda and repeating things over and over again. This stuff can seem stupid and mindless and ineffective to somebody who thinks somebody like you. The truth is, Nazi, fascist, all these things you've heard them describe you as, undoubtedly, these things work. They're very, 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 very effective. I'll just say as a quick side note, we should do likewise. That's why I'm so adamant to call them all communists, because it works. But also, back to the fascism thing. These people don't actually know what a fascist is. They don't. They've just been taught. Who taught them? Well, everybody. They all think with one mind. There's one gigantic hive mind on the left. They all think, act, walk, talk, and write the exact same way. They learn it growing up in school. They learn it in college. They learn it at their groups. They learn it from their friends. They learn it from the media sources they consume. Fascist, 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 fascist. What does it actually mean to them? To them, a fascist is anybody who tries to stop their communism. That's what a fascist is to them. Which is odd, because if they continue down this path in the United States of America, I believe, sadly, we will actually see a fascist rise at some point in this country. I do believe it. People will not be abused without end. And right now, there is no indication these communists have any intention of backing off at all. And then they'll find out what real fascism is when people are getting tossed out of helicopters. God forbid we ever get to that time. So let's make sure we stop these people now, so we never have to see ugliness like that ever, ever, ever again. Remember, monitor what your kids learn in school. If I can give you one practical piece of advice that I have tried to apply time and time and time again in my life, I will ask my child to see his history book. I will ask my child what his history teacher is teaching him. What are the subjects? Oh, this subject? Oh, okay. You can ask innocently, okay, that's an interesting subject. What's he saying about it? What have you learned? What have you gotten from the lesson? You see, the indoctrination of our kids to hate themselves and their country doesn't begin at the university level anymore. It begins very early on. No, much less overt than the university level, where they'll flat out tell you America sucks. In school, they don't say America sucks because you'd call and complain. They just simply teach them American history. What kind of American history? Well, America is the genocide of the Native Americans, it's slavery, and it's the terrible civil rights stuff. All right, class, that's it for this semester. It begins very, very, very early. Get your kids out of government school.